played The Great Middle Class and Mr. Accident.
I did.
So, like, how did you discover these two films on Cheng Cheng?
Yeah, so our theme or our philosophy with Film Club is discovery. We want folks to come and discover something. We want them to become new fans of certain distributors. We want them to become new fans of certain directors. We want them to say, I've never watched a film from China before, I want to watch more. And so to do that, you've got to take some folks outside of their comfort zone. And so our film club meets twice a week. It's typically on Sundays and then on Wednesdays. And then on rare occasions, Fridays, Saturdays. And we bring these sort of smaller, unique titles to the big screen for a chance for the community to sit and watch and then, like tonight, interact with the director of the film. So I was looking for new movies to show our audience. And I came across, there was maybe, I can't think of the name of the festival, but I came across a festival that had programmed Great Buddha Plus and had absolutely loved it. Like, talked about the great sort of story, talked about the way it was filmed, the black and white, talked a lot about the comedy of it. And I was just like, this is a film that I think our audience would enjoy. And so I reached out. I think people were surprised, but I was just like, I'd like to show it. And then we worked on Absurd Accident together, which is a much different movie. And our audience was laughing themselves all the way through that movie. And it was so fun to watch with the crowd. And I am a believer of partnerships. Like, my partnership with Cheng Cheng is not just, let's show a movie and then we're done. It's, how do you think this movie will fit and do with our audience? And then when she wrote to me and said that Send Me the Clouds was coming, I was just like, yes, this is a yes. And I don't know, I think this will be the first time our audience has interacted with a Chinese director in a Q&A format. And so they're going to leave with a new experience. And that's really what I think is exciting about the movies that you all are releasing.
Does our guest know where I could get a pink suit like that and a 42 long?
Oh, yeah.
他有粉红色的衬衫，也是可以的。
I saw that you play Send Me to the Clouds with a documentary, and they both touch on the topic of leftover women.
Yeah.
Do you think about subject as a hook for your audience?
Well, you know, I think specifically when we had booked Send Me to the Clouds, I then looked at Leftover Women. It was a movie that I was looking at for our Lost Weekend Film Festival. It didn't quite fit because we had already programmed One Child Nation already. And so I didn't want to overwhelm people with not similar but connective sort of topics all in the same area. I want to show everyone a range. And so what I decided to do then was pull Leftover Women out, and we programmed them side by side. I don't know if I had it in the mind, but it just worked out that way. But I think now that I'm looking back on it, like, it's a perfect fit. Like, this documentary about leftover women gives people the opportunity to understand what's going on as we watch our film tonight, and give that sort of backstory behind it that maybe folks don't think about or aren't realizing when they see it as a fictional film. Like, a documentary makes it feel very real, like this is really what we're watching. With a fictional film, oftentimes you say, like, is that real? Is that really real? Like, what liberties is the director taking with my knowledge and that sort of thing as well. So I'm excited. Yeah, I think it's nice. Yeah, absolutely, like a balance. Like, you know, a good fictional story will balance that, like what is real and what isn't real, and it makes you want to leave and discover even more. And I think that's going to be the case tonight. Because Send Me to the Clouds, I love the humor of this film. I love how it's very in your face. I love how we're going to have an audience full of women as well, and there's a beautiful feminist story and slant to it. I don't know. I'm really excited about our screening tonight and how that fits within what Film Club represents. I think the other subject that we're excited about is that we recently watched a documentary about leftover women. And this talked further about it. Is there a push in China right now to talk more about women pursuing careers, pursuing their profession, versus getting married and having children?
妇女的话题一直是中国女性心里 压力非常大的一个称号，没有人愿意会顶上被剩下的人的这样的一个名字。我自己也非常的不开心，因为我也是一个剩女。所以当这部电影出来之后，在社会上，很多女性当中引起了很大的拥护和喜欢。它也会对中国电影市场有一些女性题材上有一些推动作用，同时它的社会舆论的效应也很大。所以我觉得，中国女性的自我的意识已经在慢慢的觉醒，她们也希望渴望有公平和更正确的对待。我觉得这个舆论的话题会越来越热，直到我们得到一个比较平等的一个权利在社会上。
How do you predict that these Cheng Cheng films will fit each other?
You never. I mean, honestly, you never know how well they're going to do. I'm excited about them. Sometimes all it takes is a dude screaming in front of the movie theater to get people excited about it. But honestly, I want two things to happen when or maybe three things to happen when they leave the screening. One, they discover more about Chinese cinema, and they discover and want to know more. Two, they start following Cheng Cheng Films so that maybe they can see the other movies that they're releasing. And then maybe in the very end of it all, we become like, someone becomes an enormous fan of just sort of like what's happening in China, the history in China, and then maybe we're translating that into some form or another right there. And so those are the big three things that I leave. Hopefully they'll be entertained. Maybe that's a 4 right there, but honestly, I want to do this because I want to promote Cheng Cheng Films. I want to get people talking about what you guys are doing, and so that when you're up in New York, you're not like, what are we doing up here? Is it only for big city markets? And then you guys can realize that these beautiful films that you have can survive in small town America as well.
So, like, you mentioned the discussion is very important, and I'm very curious, like, how do you orchestrate these conversations both online and offline?
So we used to, when we first started, we used to do discussions after every screening, which was great. Until we started hitting like 1,000 members, or we would have 100 people show up. It would just be too difficult to manage a successful conversation afterwards. So we've moved it to online. We have a good discussion that happens on our Facebook page. We have an email list. And honestly, afterwards, we have little pods that will just sort of form and people will discuss and that sort of thing as well. This year, and you're going to meet Brad Gullickson from In the Mouth of Dorcas podcast in just a little bit of time. He's going to coordinate with us, and we're going to start doing a film club podcast where we highlight 2 or 3 movies that we've watched over the course of the month and then continue the conversation that way. Because I think more people do want to talk about it. It's just time is so difficult. Like, I know in New York you guys stay awake till like midnight, 2 a.m., maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. Here in Winchester, we like to go to bed early. So tonight we're here watching a movie at 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I think most people are going to be like, I got to be home by 10, and I'd like to crash out and get into dinner and that sort of thing. And so the discussion may happen a little bit in the lobby afterwards, but after the screening, we do the group photo, we keep that conversation going. And then, this is the other thing that I do. Every movie we watch with our film club, I purchase, either typically through Amazon, and then I donate it to the local library. And then the library puts it up on its shelf, and that allows people who can't afford to come to the movies to come and watch movies all the time. So they have them labeled like gift from Alamo Drafthouse. It says Film Club on the side. And if you search on our library's website, Winchester Film Club, all the movies you're going to watch show up. And so if you don't have any money and you can't come to the movies, but you want to watch great Chinese films, you can go to the library, look up Film Club, and see which ones we've watched and be able to support them.
That's so cool.